say good day to you this day. How are you all? Once again, we will take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for allowing this communication, this transmission, to occur through this particular window, through this particular gateway, at this time and in this way. Once again, each and every time you help co-create such an interaction with our civilization, we are given an opportunity to experience through your civilization that many more points of view, that many more perspectives of the infinite, and we thank you for this gift of expansion and sharing. We would like to begin this transmission with the following idea. This day is your time. There is a planet upon which there is a type of creature, as you would call it, that lives within thick ice. And these creatures have high body temperature and blades of a type upon the head that radiate heat in such a manner that allows them to melt their way through the ice, to melt tunnels through the ice. They use this biological ability to tunnel underneath that which would be their food, and in melting the ice, and their prey falling through the hole, thereupon they can then eat. There is a planet whereupon there is a creature who from time to time may decide to procreate in a manner to which you are somewhat familiar, that being the idea of the fertilization of eggs and the production of offspring. But from time to time, the female of this species will also opt to simply clone herself, causing instantaneous generation of certain cells that will then allow for the growth of small identical copies of herself to grow within the being until such time as they are old enough to come out. They will then come out fully formed, those small identical copies, identical clones of the mother parent, with no fertilization having taken place. There is a planet whereupon there is a creature, small in size, that, very much like your mythological dragon, has the ability to project fire from its body, to create this fire chemically with the spraying of two chemicals that, when they meet in the air, ignite into flame as a defensive mechanism, much like your mythological dragon. Each of these three planets are the same planet, and this planet, of course, is your own Earth. Each of these creatures exists upon your planet, and we simply point this out to you to remind you of the strange, wonderful beings that exist upon your own world, that you do not need necessarily to look at other more alien worlds to find strange and wondrous beings. You are surrounded by them, many more than we have described, that would seem perhaps to you, to many of you, to be denizens and inhabitants of far-flung alien worlds, but reside with you as your own neighbors, sometimes under your own feet, sometimes in the air around you. Look to your own planet, and it will help you perhaps understand the richness of diversity that exists throughout creation. For if you can find such wonderment, such diversity in your own ecosystem, perhaps then you will understand there are creatures beyond imagining on other worlds that are truly alien to you, if such alien creatures can exist among you. Allow yourself to explore and appreciate the richness of the diversity in your own environment, for this will allow you to understand creation in its many forms and its many facets, and you do not necessarily need to seek the stars to experience these kinds of other worlds, these kinds of other perspectives and other realities. We will always welcome you in your exploration of what you call outer space, but we invite you first and foremost to realize that exploring your own world will open up new vistas, new doorways, new understandings of things you have heretofore thought unimaginable that could not necessarily coexist with you, but do. So, we remind you of what is all around you, and let that be your first recognition of reflection of the many facets of the infinite that your world contains. We thank you for allowing us at this time to reflect this idea to you, to share this notion and perspective with your civilization, and in return for the gift that you are giving to our world, we ask now, in what way may I and my world be of service to you? You and then you. Number two, do you know who you are? All right. Number one, good day.
Good day, Bashar. I went to a psychic.
A psychic, yes, all right, understood.
Sunday. And
a psychic Sunday, all right, understood.
Okay. And the questions were, the purpose originally was to find out where the relationship was going between myself and Dawn. And
you required a psychic for this?
Just for clarification on certain things.
All right.
But basically, I didn't. I don't think that I did. Well, maybe I did.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Anyway, what the psychic said is that there is a relationship of a romantic type in the future. Both of us seem to be accepting of it, but what the psychic said, what the main problem is
challenge.
What the main challenge was is that I have some kind of an energy field which can jump out and affects not only Dawn but other people as well.
Well, in some senses. But this is not something that is not under your control. This is simply the result of your particular perspective and what was being illuminated for you by that psychic was the idea simply that your own fears can generate in the energy field that you have, that everyone has, vibrations that can, in some senses, actually be counterproductive to what it is you desire. In that you may fear losing something. This then shows a lack of faith in what it is that is there and what it is that can be there. And in exercising that fear, it can generate in your electromagnetic field a type of frequency that will, in a sense, leap out, allow individuals to sense the fear vibration, and in some senses be a little bit overwhelming or even make them back off. So the idea is that it is a self-fulfilling, counterproductive prophecy.
So is it actually an energy field that's just created by fear, and is this what...
It is an energy field that exists already, but it takes its cue in terms of the frequency it operates on by the definitions and the emotional templates that are going on within your consciousness. They, in that sense, do not actually create the field. The field is already there, but it will take its form and its flavor, if you will, by the different things going on in your consciousness that have to do with your belief systems. And if the strongest beliefs within you are those that are basically aligned with the concept of fear, then it will take its cue from that vibration, yes.
And does this somehow take energy away from her or make her cause
Not that she is not willing to give,
tired?
no. Again, you can never really take energy from another, but if they are willing to buy into the same ideas or similar ideas that are also fear-generating, then matching your fear frequency may allow her to experience the effect of being drained. Yes. But what she is doing in that sense is simply draining her own energy, so to speak, or lowering her energy vibration, because she may be, for her own reasons, aligning with the vibration that you are giving off. That is, in a sense, a lower vibration in that it might be connected to the concept of fear. Does this make sense to you physiologically?
I'm not sure. Can you...
Well, again, like vibration to like vibration. The idea is that if you operate on a certain wavelength, then you will, perhaps more often than not always, but more often than not, attract individuals who, perhaps, even though they may have a different agenda, or different belief systems, or different issues to explore, may simply be already also functioning on a similar wavelength, and by attracting yourselves to each other, and not clarifying that definition that is creating that wavelength, you may both create the sensation of draining each other, but what you're actually doing is simply each choosing to lower the frequency of your own energy field, and that makes you feel as if you are being drained by interaction with another. You understand the difference?
I think so, yes.
All right.
And what happened after this was I was looking all over for some way that I could get this energy field under control, and now I think all I need to do is just let go of the fear.
Yes.
But I was referred to somebody in Oklahoma by the name of Byron Gentry.
Right.
Can you scan this?
I will not.
Okay.
We will not place the idea of evaluation and or judgment.
Okay. He stated to me that I have 3 entities attached to me, that I was conceived out of polarity, and that I had 2 entities which were influencing me.
Nothing influences you. But again, we restate. Understand that what we have already said to you answers this question too. If you, for whatever reason, even though it may have been in some senses factors in your upbringing, if you are operating on a certain energy level, then yes, there are other beings of perhaps lower vibration that can be attracted to the vibratory level that you are operating on, but in that sense they do not really influence you except perhaps to reflect an amplification of the level you are choosing to be on, but that you do not have to choose to be on. Even though it may have been the product of upbringing that may have allowed you to feel that you have to exist on that level, now that you know that everything is energy, now that you know that beliefs create certain frequencies within your energy, you can choose the definitions that you wish to buy into. You can choose the definitions consciously that you want your reality to be reflective of, and as you choose, so you will make yourself either available or unavailable to any other entities who are or are not operating on the same wavelength. Do you understand?
Yes, I do, because I perceived that this was not. I almost told him to forget it right there, but I was feeling desperate, and so
all right.
he was.
This is still a good reflection for you. Okay. However, the idea again being is that it is simply being stated euphemistically, colloquially, or shall we say, not entirely just symbolically, but reflectively. In other words, what is being said is you have a choice here to understand that if you continue to choose to operate on a certain wavelength, you will only be capable of associating with entities of like vibration, be they other humans or beings from other dimensional realms. So in that sense, you are being told that other entities can, quote-unquote, attach themselves to you and, quote-unquote, influence you. But not ultimately, not foundationally, not fundamentally. It is simply another way of saying you are making associations with beings that are reflective of the level you are choosing to operate on based on your strongest beliefs, your strongest definitions. So choose what you prefer, and that will determine who and what you're actually capable of associating with in the future. Does that make more sense to you?
Yeah,
It is not that you are being told something incorrect. It is simply being stated in a colloquial manner. You have to have the ability to understand how to interpret those things in a manner that is befitting to what you prefer.
So was anything actually removed from me last night in terms of, he said that he was actually calling up somebody in the white robes to remove these things. I didn't perceive that they were there in the first place, and I didn't perceive any energy, didn't sense any energy, and I'm sensitive.
Nothing in that sense was removed, but you were being given, once again, an opportunity to decide whether or not you could shift your frequency to something more in alignment with that concept. But in that it was presented to you in a manner that, in some senses, removes your own self-empowerment. In other words, that someone has to do it for you. Not that you cannot have help, but that someone had to do it for you, and that it was made into a great mystery. That, in and of itself, to some degree, actually even contradicted the idea for why that was presented to you. You have to make the determination that you wish to realign your energy and move yourself up to a higher frequency domain.
And I can do that for any
Yes, you can.
means.
You can do it right now. You can do it tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, whenever you decide it's right for you.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes, thank you.
Number 2.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day. I had an interesting dream that I wanted to share because it involved 2 or possibly 3 people from this room that I had a dream on
All right.
Tuesday.
Yes.
Excuse me. Well, it started out...
All right, you are excused.
Started out where we were at this party, and there was 5 women standing in the middle of the street, 4 4 women and myself.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the sky, and I'm seeing these flashes of light going by, and I'm like telling everybody, look, because it started happening more and more.
Yes.
And they weren't looking, and finally they looked because it was just so obvious.
Yes.
And the next thing I know, we're in this vehicle that's with a split level, and it wasn't white, it was maroon, and we were up on the part where it was kind of crescent-shaped seating.
Yes.
And the 5 of us were there, and we weren't seatbelted or anything, but I knew we were traveling at enormous speeds, and the force was incredible, enough to make us nauseous.
Oh, wow.
And I could hear them screaming, oh, my God, and my thing was, close your eyes, because it made it better, and it was hard to breathe, but I thought, okay, it'll pass, and just kind of go with it.
Yes.
And then I heard this electronic voice say, you need to, and I couldn't hear what he was saying because everything else was going on. And then I woke up. But it was like really incredible feeling because I wasn't afraid.
Guys, you need to remember how familiar this is.
Well, Samantha, right? She was there, and April was there, and another person I know, and me, and some other person. But when I woke up, I was thinking Stephanie, but I wasn't sure if Stephanie was actually there or not.
In a sense, yes. Again, these are reflective of parts of you, but at the same time, they are also representative of actual encounters on an astral and or etheric level.
Well, it was interesting that the force brought on, a nauseous feeling because it gave me the feeling that I was being spinning around when I really wasn't.
That you, in that sense, experience the contradiction in inertia. In other words, what you create in your mind as a third-dimensional being to be the difference between the frequency that you consider yourself to be on a day-to-day basis and the frequency of your higher self. That difference is what you experience as the nauseousness. You follow?
Yes.
This is why you were told you need to remember that this is familiar to you, so that you will match the vibration of the higher self. Let there be no longer a difference between the two frequencies, and when there is no difference, there will be no nausea.
So we weren't actually going anywhere.
Well, yes and no. You never go anywhere anyway. There is nowhere to go if you want to talk about it in ultimate terms. Even when you think you are crossing a room, you are not actually crossing a room. You are creating the apparency of crossing the room. But that is not, in that sense, real, except as you believe that it is. So ultimately, you never really go anywhere because everything holographically is right here, right now. You simply shift your perspective to make it seem as if you are going somewhere. Even more so in the astral and etheric realms, you actually know you're not really going anywhere. And with that knowledge, you will also erase the nausea because you will not really be traveling in any sense. You will remove the sense of inertia because you will know that rather than actually moving through space-time, the concept of space-time is actually moving through you, shifting around within you to make it appear as if you are traveling. And knowing that and gaining familiarity with that will allow you to reach great acceleration in all ways that we could mean that word, without the discomfort of the change and the shift that you translate as nausea, disorientation, dizziness, and the like. Do you follow this?
Yeah.
Both literally and metaphorically.
Well, it was interesting because when I woke up, I wasn't afraid
Yes.
of some of the other dreams I've had.
Yes. Well, again, you did lock onto some of the familiarity. And in being assisted into locking onto some of the familiarity, then you were capable of having the experience without fear because you already knew you had done this before. You had been all right before, and so you knew you could do it again and still be all right.
What happened a couple weeks before that was another dream I had where I was with a couple people that I didn't know, and Chris, and he was talking and said to these people that, we've had alien interaction 13 years ago, and we're still having it today. And then all of a sudden, here it comes. And I was paralyzed, and I was, where it feels like you're awake but you're not. And my solar plexus was actually making these movements, but there was this huge force shooting out from my solar plexus and humming in my ears. And I looked and saw Chris's dog sitting on my leg. But I know
or what you thought it
what
was.
I thought, and exactly. And at that moment, I was thinking, I'm just seeing her because I love her, and I wouldn't be afraid if I saw her.
Yes, in that instance, this is so.
That was incredibly powerful.
Yes. Remember, as you remind yourself of how incredibly powerful it was, that even though many of these interactions do in fact involve other dimensional beings, what you're actually feeling is your own energy. That's how powerful you actually are. It is your own energy, in a sense, that is being manipulated. Remember that. Use it in whatever way, shape, or form you prefer to. You follow?
Kind of. I mean, I don't understand.
Even though others may know how to get you to use your energy for their agenda, it is also going to rub off on you that you can learn to become more familiar with your own energy and learn to use it for your own agenda. That is, in a sense, the fine print that many of you don't understand, that goes hand in hand with some of the experiences you are having on other dimensional level. You cannot be exposed to such experiences without gaining, over time, an ability to learn to do these things yourself. You follow?
Yes.
That's why, ultimately, with all such interactions with other beings in other dimensions, that's why, should they come with their own agenda, ultimately, just the fact that you're being exposed to energy of that reality, of that dimension, ultimately, any such agenda will have to have a finishing point, because the more used to the energy you get, the less anyone else can tell you how to use it. So any agenda will, in a sense, run itself out, because ultimately you will get used to it to such a point that you can interact on your own terms consciously in the way that you prefer to. Make sense?
Yes.
That's why, at least it is one of the reasons why, the agenda of the interactions between your species and what you call the Greys has a time limit. Because they know they can only pull you into their dimensional reality so often before you will become masterful at navigating in that dimension on your own, and in a sense become equal to their technology. You follow?
Mm-hmm. I just have another quick one.
Oh, all right, another quick one.
Well, can you tell me what level 16 is to me? What that might mean for me?
It can mean a few things, but what we are scanning right now is that it is a target for you, a marker that will allow you to know when you have reached a certain level of awareness and proficiency. Okay. When you feel more conscious and more awake within your reality and know that you are creating your reality, more along the lines that you know you are creating your reality in these astral and etheric states. When your physical reality becomes synonymous with living a waking dream, you, in a sense, for you and your marker will be at, generally speaking, level 16. Then, level 17 will be a great expansion from there, where you can begin to function much more holographically, much more like the concept of the higher self, and allow the barriers between different levels of physical reality to dissolve from your perception of it, so that you can operate more up and down what you call a timeline as if there really was no timeline. Does this make any sense to you?
Yes, that was neat, because I was told, remember level 16. And I was like, I didn't know if it was a state of consciousness or...
In a sense, yes. It is both. What's the difference? States of consciousness are places. Places are states of consciousness. Remember, there is no reality except your definition of it, but that's what reality is. So states of consciousness are places, and places are nothing but states of consciousness. Do you follow?
Yes.
They are interchangeable. They are one and the same. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, thank you very much.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Thank you, too.
You, and then you. Number 2, do you know who you are? All right, number 1, good day. And do you?
When I was in Hawaii recently, listening to tapes, I really enjoy it, and it's probably more fun when I hear it second time.
If you say so.
Yeah, I get the humor more.
Oh, all right.
I wrote some lines down.
Wrote some lines.
For you and about you.
Yes.
That I wanted to share.
All right, proceed, if you wish.
Yeah, I wish.
All right, proceed.
Bashar.
Yes.
Sweet, silly, succulent. Breaths of wind as deep as ocean's own. Deep and cool and sweet with peace. magic twinkles in your unseen eyes, and love and joy right in time. Bashar, bellowing, boisterous, girlstress, mellowing, jelloing my brain, blunt, believable, basic, compassionate, calming, calamitous, playful, pal-like, loving, lovingly joking, lovingly poking, joking, funnish, pun-ish, Bashar, resonant, reflective, sharing and caring, enough to be nearly overbearing. Bashar, you wild thing, you make my heart sing.
We thank you. That is us in a nutshell.
A cocoa nut, it's a big nut.
A cocoa nut shell, yes.
Okay.
We thank you.
I have a few questions.
Yes.
When I was in Hawaii, my aunt's son, Christopher,
Yes.
he just turned 9, a week ago.
Yes.
My aunt left her 2 sons with me one afternoon, so they got to hear all about the ETs and stuff. But Christopher's really interested in it, and he wants to know how to get abducted, or if he's been abducted. My question is, we both have these little scoop marks on our eyes, or near our eyes, and when I grew up, I think I was told it was from some chicken pox or something.
It can be.
But I think I would have them in more places.
Not necessarily.
Well, anyway, he's got one too, and I don't think he had the chicken pox, and we were wondering if that scoop mark was a symbol of that, and I guess
It is a symbol of a certain type of connection between you, and that is all we will say in that stead. However, he has had interactions of a type, but we will not go into detail for now as to exactly what that may mean.
Well, I guess he'll be glad to hear it. He was just really interested, and he was really wanting to know more, and I let him look at pictures and stuff.
All right. Again, it is important for him to understand that he has had interaction, but for him to also understand to not assume what that may mean in terms of what types of beings he has had interactions with.
Okay, I'm going to share that with him.
Yes.
When I was over there, I was putting the toys out for my hybrid children.
Yes.
And then I couldn't think if it should be like a wide open space. You said remote. I'm in a remote area, but everywhere I could imagine walking, I think somebody else could imagine walking. So I couldn't think if I should put them in an open place. Do they need landing room? And if they could go in between dimensions, why can't they pick them up anywhere?
They can. But sometimes the place and the timing will have, shall we say, significance. But it is up to you and your timing. Don't ponder this or worry about this too much. Simply follow your instinct and do not overthink it.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking too much. I put it out there, and then I
know you said were wondering whether or not it would be open enough, whether or not anyone else would come by. You were thinking too much.
Well, wondering and worrying are 2 different things too, right?
Yes, but you were worrying and not wondering.
No, I wasn't worried. It's just
you
toys, and you said don't have expectations. And
I know, but you were worrying it.
Okay, you could call it worrying.
That is because that's what we scan the energy to be.
Well, it didn't.
I understand what you mean by the use of your term. I was wondering, but I am simply attempting to point out to you that that kind of wondering is usually the residual effect of earlier worrying about whether this is going to work or not, or whether it's going to be convenient or not, or whether it's really going to make a connection or not. Many things that may have been subliminal on other levels can come out to that kind of apparently idle wondering, but it stems from original worrying. It doesn't have to be worrying just because you're not wringing your hands, or in that sense causing upset within yourself, but it can still come from the fundamental foundation that also gives rise to worry. All we are telling you is you don't need to wonder at all. The idea of being in the moment with it means you don't even have to wonder about it. Just allow yourself to completely follow your playful intuition and just do what feels correct at any given moment. All right? If you wonder In that way, you may actually give yourself an opportunity to second-guess yourself and truly not be as spontaneous as you need to be in this particular happenstance. That's what we are saying more specifically. You follow?
Thank you for
That is what we mean by worrying.
I love your impeccability.
My impocability?
Yeah, well, I don't know. You pose good. I've been listening to you. It's 11 years now, and I think
11 orbits.
It's maybe like it just always is soaking in, and I'm always having so much fun. And I heard you say on the tape the other day to a lady that you were a genie and she could have whatever she wanted. And I've heard you say this before, but I took the time to imagine for a minute what I'd want. And I remember an art room at a camp that I went to that was like, just full of everything, and it was just in a nice area. And so I imagined having all my tools and supplies and everything together in one place. And I think I could do it within a week.
All right.
But I was just realizing that all this, like making this book like a scrapbook. I've got boxes of collage and images, and I've saved. They're lovely, and I said, okay, I'll do a collage day, and then I say, no, I'll do collage now.
All right.
And I realized that doing those things that excite me the most. That I mean, you keep saying that, but it keeps soaking in that it's like. The funnest things, the things I won't take time to do because I'm too busy. So,
for herein is the paradox. When you take time to do those things that really are your highest joy, then in that sense, you put time back. When you take time, you put it back. For you live in the moment and no time passes.
Creating is so magical, and I love that I could keep doing it more, and that's I'm doing what I came here to do.
Be yourself. That's all you came to do. Be yourself in this context. That's all of you came to do. Be yourselves in this context.
I made a bunch of crop circle rubber stamps.
Oh, all right.
And I've been playing with stamping them, and then I started playing with watercolors. And if anybody wanted to see any of the stuff that I stamped, I usually have some of it with me.
All right.
And one last thing. I was thinking about the twinkle in your unseen eye. And I was trying to think if I knew of any civilizations that had statues that had twinkles in their eyes. And I couldn't think of any right off. I know the tantrics have some nice smiles, but it doesn't really look like they got that twinkle in their eye. And then when I was doing my collage, I found a Mayan circle, and I had a little clip of words that says, "Fun comes full cycle." And I look in the middle, and the man's sticking his tongue out. And I think it's...
That may be a type of twinkle.
Well, that was the closest. I thought that was sort of a synchronicity there, that it looked like they were having fun.
There is no sort of to synchronicity. Synchronicity is.
It could have been a power pose, but it looked like,
What's the difference?
Sticking his tongue out to me.
The twinkle in your eye and the power pose, in a sense, are one and the same. When you are in your joy, that is your pose of power, however it looks.
Are there any civilizations that I don't know about that have that?
Do you mean on your planet or elsewhere?
Yeah, I mean here.
There are many. But you will find it by matching the twinkle in your own, as you already have done. So you need not ask.
I love you.
Our love to you as well, unconditionally. Continue by all means to soak. Number 2.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Hi, I haven't seen you in a while.
All right, speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
Okay, I missed you.
Did I throw myself at you?
No. Okay, I want to talk about the concept of God.
Go right ahead. Talk about the concept that you call God.
On your civilization, do you have such a concept?
Yes, it is referred to, if I may roughly translate into your language, as all that is.
All that is.
Yes. We understand that your term, God, in your language, can actually be interpreted in many different ways. And in a sense, because to us, creation is, the Creator is, the infinite is, all that is, then any interpretation is as correct and valid as any other interpretation, because anything you can imagine is part of all that is. Were it not so, you couldn't imagine it. So to us, every interpretation is correct and thus is a part of, or a reflection of, or a perspective of, or an experience of, or a relationship with all that is, which knows itself to be one, all that is, but also knows itself to be made up of all the different beings, all the different places, all the different times, because creation is made out of it, because there's nothing but it. There is no outside to it, so anything that exists, exists within it, from it, is it, in one form or another. In that sense, every piece is the whole, experiencing itself as a piece. That is to us what all that is means. Does that help explain our perspective to you?
Yes, it does.
Now remember, your perspective is valid for you.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is I have just explained to you is our perspective. If you like our perspective, you can certainly adopt it as your own or change it in whatever way, shape, or form befits you. Because to us, any way that you see all that is, or what you wish to call God, is in the eyes of God correct. Because it cannot be otherwise. Because there is no outside. Make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
That answers, that question.
Anything else?
Yes, I have a lot.
Oh,
okay.
Right.
On creation.
Creation.
Okay, when I've heard you say that, it's our definitions, right?
Yes.
That create our reality.
Your experience of your reality, yes.
Okay. So my question is about thinking. So is it the thinking or is it the action that we take based on our thinking that...
More the action, because the action reveals true belief rather than thinking.
Okay.
Thinking is, in a sense, a secondary side effect, or even a third side effect, of the deep-rooted definitional belief, which is the blueprint that determines your motivations, your emotions, your thinking, your patterns, your actions, and so forth. But the actions you take are perhaps in some ways closer to a representation of the root belief, rather than what you think or even what you say.
Okay.
Again, also, perhaps how you feel is closer to what you believe, because you do not have a feeling about anything one way or another unless you already have a belief about that thing. But it is the belief, the fundamental, true, strongest belief, that is what determines how you are capable of experiencing the concept you call reality.
Okay.
Thinking, emotions, behaviors, actions can put you in touch with what it is you must believe to be true in order to be thinking, feeling, and behaving in such a manner. That's what your physical reality is for, is to put you in touch with what type of belief you must have in order to be getting this kind of reality reflection. Do you follow?
Yes. Yeah.
Now that's just a very generalized statement and isn't always necessarily something to be taken specifically. In other words, someone who is in what you would call an automobile accident doesn't necessarily mean that they had a fundamental belief that they had to be specifically in an automobile accident. It can happen that way, but generally such things are reflective of deep-seated beliefs that would allow for the possibility of an automobile accident to be the most likely outcome of the kind of beliefs that they may have, or even a refusal to look at certain beliefs may generate such an outcome. Do you follow?
Yes, I do.
So when we say that your deep beliefs generate your reality, it doesn't always mean that it's a specific one-to-one reflection of an exact and precisely defined belief, but in general, at the very least, what you get is what you put out. It is up to you to determine from what you get back what it is you are putting out so that you can decide whether you prefer what you're putting out or not. In the same way that you use a glass mirror to determine whether you are smiling or frowning, and thus decide to change the expression on your face to get a different reflection, so too is physical reality literally a mirror. If you find that a frown is coming back, you cannot manipulate your physical reality any more than you can manipulate a glass mirror to change the frown into a smile. You have to decide to smile before you can get a smile reflected back to you. But by seeing the reflection, you know what's on your face and can decide accordingly what you wish to do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes. No, that's great. Thank you.
Yes.
Also, over the last year, I've had some interaction with some beings, and I'd
Yes.
asked you a question before about if you could tell me where they were from, and you said no.
Yes.
Okay. So, but my question is, I haven't really consciously been like interacting with them, but I have a feeling like it's my choice.
Yes, on a high level it may be. Now again, no matter what kind of interactions you may have, the idea is that it is always the general product of a choice made on some level. It may not even necessarily be the conscious choice of your physiological personality construct to have had such interactions, but you can always align your physical personality construct with your original soul choice to allow your personality to determine how it is these interactions can take place in ways that are beneficial and in alignment with your preference. You follow?
Yeah, that's sort of what my question is. I'm not really sure what my question is, but it's sort of getting there. Okay, it's about that, because part of the interaction was about work in the world and them assisting me. Well, assisting me in something and being in the world and something I would be doing.
You will be assisted in anything you decide that is important for you to do.
Okay.
Do you understand that? You will be assisted in anything you decide is exciting and important for you to do. It's up to you. You're the first lead. Does that make sense? It's your life.
Yeah, okay.
You're not going to be told what to do, except perhaps you will be reminded about who you are and what the most likely things would be that who you are would want to do, but you will never be told what to do. It is up to you to decide what is most representative of your highest energy, your highest creativity, your highest love, your highest joy. Those are the things that excite you the most, that are most representative of your true self, that vibration. You understand?
Yeah.
So when you decide at any given moment what it is that excites you the most and decide to act on that, by doing so, you will be most harmoniously aligned with your true self, and in that sense, you can be more easily assisted in the doing of that thing, because it is easier to help the real you than it is to help you when you're fighting your true self. Make sense?
Yes.
Easier for messages to get through, easier for assistance to get through. When you're aligned with yourself, you become superconductive. So it's easier to transmit energy to you, to help you. But when you are not being yourself, when you are buying into belief systems that are counterproductive and resistive to your natural self, then of course, like any kind of cross-circuited transmission, you will receive mostly static, no matter how many messages may be coming to you to help you. Make sense?
Yes. Okay, one last thing.
Oh, all right, one last thing.
For now.
For now.
I had recently 2 men die in my life. Okay, my father was one.
All right.
And then a man that I had been involved with. He was like the last man that I had been involved with. They both had similar energy patterns, and I realized that this last person, it really helped me see a lot of, what my beliefs were around that. But they died within a week of each other.
Yes.
And we're both sort of like going on parallel tracks, and it just seemed so, not strange,
I understand.
But it just was so, it was difficult in a way, because, so now they both died about 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And
now you know they are still alive, in a sense, yes?
No.
You don't know that?
No, what do you mean?
Well, you know what I mean. Consciousness never dies.
Okay. Well,
they are still aware that they exist, except they now exist in a different state.
Do you know what state that is?
Well, you typically call it the spirit realm.
Okay.
It is typically a higher vibrational state, also what has been referred to as a type of etheric and or astral domain. You follow?
Yeah.
So, in that sense, it is a very real state and thus a very real place, but it is less material, less dense than your physical reality. It operates at a higher frequency, and so it is in some senses beyond the range of most of your physical senses. Not completely, but generally. You follow?
Yeah.
It's easier for them, in a sense, to perceive you when they want to than it is for you to perceive them when you want to, although I am only being general with that statement. I'm not saying that it is in any way, shape, or form truly more difficult for you to perceive them, but the way that your reality has been taught to you makes it seem as if it's a difficult thing to perceive spirits, when it is very easy for them to perceive the physical, because in a sense, to their mind, they've been there. and they are, in a sense, looking down from a higher place. So they have a broader perspective. You follow this analogy?
Yeah. Okay, no, I...
But they are very much still with you, in a sense.
Okay.
Now, time for them is not what it is for you. The sense of time is not the same. For them, what may seem to be an instant may be like months for you. You follow?
Mm-hmm.
But if you send them energy, if you think about them, if you send them the vibration of love, I guarantee you they will receive it.
I mean, basically, it felt like their dying was symbolic of a pattern that was challenging, like the most challenging pattern that I had in my life.
This is what these kinds of timings are all about. You don't have relationships by accident. Individuals that are in your life for a reason, and the timing of their own lives and how their lives play out has everything to do with what it is you need to have reflected to you and vice versa. And so the timing of their transition, as you call it, death, from physical to non-physical, has everything to do with what it is you need to experience as a person to stretch your awareness into higher dimensional realms, as they, in a sense, tug at you by being in those places that you now need to stretch to reach.
Okay.
So they are doing you a favor and doing you a service and providing you a gift by helping you stretch your senses to areas that you perhaps would not have stretched to had they not passed over and given you a reason to stretch after them.
So you're saying they're still stretching me?
Of course. The relationship doesn't end. If someone...
Oh, I thought it was over. I mean...
No. But it has taken on a very different flavor.
Okay. I felt like free, but at the same time more depressed. Almost like the most happy and the most sad at the same time.
I understand.
And it feels like there's something that
you are now dealing with the center of your power, which is always expressed by the experience you call paradox. When you are dealing with paradox, I feel elated and free, I also feel depressed. When you feel the polar opposites simultaneously, you are at the center of your power of creating the reality you experience. You follow?
Yeah.
Because everything comes from the center. And when you're standing in between the two polarities, you know you're in the center. In order to be able to experience them both at the same time, that means you must be at the center. And that's where you need to be. Not that you have to experience it exactly that way forever, but it is giving you an opportunity to get used to what it means to be at the center of your power.
Okay, well, what do you do at the center of your power? I mean, like, okay, live. Okay.
Joyfully, fully, with full imagination, creativity, and absolute and total trust in the definitions you prefer to believe in, rather than absolute and total trust in the definitions that don't work for you.
Okay.
Because it is not about learning to trust. You all always have trust. You all trust 100% of the time in whatever it is you're doing. The only question is, what are you doing? Are you trusting in something that is aligned, in harmony with your true self, or are you trusting in a definition that is out of alignment and in disharmony with your true preference? That's the only question. It's not about having to learn to trust. It's not an issue of you don't trust. Yes, you do. You trust 100% of the time in something. The question is, what? You follow?
Yeah. No, this is so cool. I thank you so much.
It is whatever temperature you want it to be. Is this helping?
Yes. No, totally.
Oh, all right.
Totally
so
right.
then, can you name one thing that you would prefer to trust in that you don't trust in or haven't trusted in? Can you create one definition of life that you would prefer to be the definition that is true for you in any area of your life whatsoever?
Yes.
Make a statement. Make a statement now that you would prefer to be a true statement, that perhaps in the past you haven't been able to believe could be true. Anything at all?
Yes. I am financially supported.
Yes.
in following my joy.
All right. Now, say it again and put some conviction into it. Oh, there's the rub.
I am financially supported in following my joy.
All right. Now, that's all well and good, and I am not in any way, shape, or form telling you to do it differently.
No, I tell you why I was laughing.
Yes,
I knew you were going to do this.
Yes. Well, you see how psychic you are.
Yes, I am.
And doesn't that show you that you are, in fact, supported in what you choose to know is true?
Yes.
Well, there you are.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
certainty you want in the statement you have made.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Use the certainty you now feel with regard to knowing I was going to do that and transfer it to that statement about financial support and abundance in following your joy. That's the frequency you want in that statement. Exactly and perfectly so. You got it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Thank you. You, then you. Number 2, do you know who you are? Number 1. You can work it out among yourselves. Female, female, female.
Can you please tell me what...
Good day.
Oh, sorry. Don't know the protocol.
Oh, that's all right. There is no real protocol. You do not have to apologize. We simply always say, good day.
Good day. I would like to know if you know what the relationship is between Richard Goldstone and Sally Rice.
We cannot give it to you that way. Why do you want to know this? What is your underlying motivation for asking such a question? You must open the door, and we can then perceive what the relevance of this issue is, rather than simply dispense the idea of some kind of commentary on individuals.
Okay. The relating to jobs and the
jobs in what context?
Professional relationship.
With regard to you.
Work.
Meaning?
Employment.
What about it? You know I'm asking you a question.
Well, will there be a working relationship for Richard Goldstone?
And yourself?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I will answer you first with a question. Are you ready? Are you ready to answer the question?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I've
All
never
right.
been here before.
Fair enough. It is good that you are honest. Here is the question. First question, actually a multiple choice. Here we go. Ready? All right. Is this so-called job, as you say in your language, is it representative of what you can imagine to be the thing you would enjoy doing most or not in life? Yes? All right. Do you believe that this particular individual, as you have named him, now be very discerning about this, do you believe that this individual is of your preferred wavelength or not?
Yes.
In what way?
Energy?
Yes.
Well, that's all it is.
All right. And here comes what you on your planet call the doozy. Can you tell us how you would feel if this, as you say, job opportunity did not occur? Did not come to fruition in the way that you appear to want it to. How would you feel? You are taking more time with this answer. Why?
Well, because I would probably feel temporarily disappointed, but then I would shift my interest and I would pursue something else so that I would...
Something else?
Mm-hmm.
But you said this was the most exciting thing you could imagine doing.
Right, but then if something doesn't happen, then you simply choose to put your energy someplace else.
Someplace else meaning what, in general?
Meaning another job direction.
would that other job direction still be representative of the most exciting thing you could imagine doing at that moment that you're capable of doing?
No.
Why not? Here then is the real question. Must the thing that excites you the most only be capable of coming to you one way? You cannot imagine any other way in which you yourself could open up or create avenues or opportunities for you to be capable of doing this thing you say that excites you the most,
right,
other than this one way, and if that door closes, that's it?
I get it.
Thank you. This is all about creativity. It's all about initiative. It's all about action. It's all about opening up to all the ways in which the thing that really excites you the most could come to you. Now, yes, on the other hand, you are also correct, but with a twist. In terms of, if it doesn't work this way, then yes, if you are not capable of taking action on the only way you can see at the moment to allow yourself to manifest the thing that excites you the most, then the thing you do need to do is take action on the next most exciting thing you do have some ability to take some action on. But it must be truly the next most exciting thing you have the ability to do something about. Not just anything, it must really be the most exciting thing you have the ability to take action on, whatever that may be. And here's, as you say, the clincher. Even if that most exciting thing seems on the surface to have nothing at all to do with the other thing at all you thought you wanted to do, or that does represent the most exciting thing. Are you following this?
Yes, but you still didn't answer the question.
I am answering it if you will pay attention. Follow along. If this particular opportunity does not in some way, shape, or form manifest as you imagine that it might, to allow you an opportunity to do this thing you say is the most exciting thing you can imagine, then what you need to do is look around at all the things that are available to you, and I mean all the things, no matter how, quote-unquote, ordinary they may seem to be, no matter how small or, quote-unquote, insignificant they may seem to be. If you find this door appears to close, take a moment, look at all of the things that you have available to take some action on at that next moment, and pick, at that moment, the most exciting one out of all the things that you can take an action on. Whatever it is, even if it is simply taking a walk in the forest. That's what you need to do. The reason is that when you follow your highest excitement at any given moment, that is the thing that connects you to the most exciting thing, though it may connect you through a doorway you didn't imagine was there. So if that's not the door, if the door you are aware of isn't the one that opens, all you have to do is act on the next most exciting thing you are capable of doing, because all excitement is connected to all other excitement. And if you follow the excitement and not how the circumstance appears on the surface, you will walk through a door you didn't know was there that will allow you eventually to be capable of doing the most exciting thing you say you want to do, whether it came through that particular opportunity or not. Doesn't matter. So this is what we are attempting to do, is to get you to remove the need for your capability to do the most exciting thing you want to do to have to come to you through a particular expected route. Because it may be that very expectation that will stop it from happening at all. Do you see where we are going with this?
Yes.
That is the physics of how this works. It is not important that we say, yes, you're going to work with this person, no, you're not going to work with that person. That means nothing. What means something is that you know nothing will stop you from doing the thing you say you want to do that is representative of your highest joy, if you will simply follow at any given moment the thing you are capable of doing that excites you the most at that moment. You will be the prime mover. You will be the prime determiner of your capability to do that thing, and anyone else that may be connected to it is incidental. because it could be anyone else. It could be anything else that gets you there. So don't make it that important that it be that person or that place or that thing. Otherwise, you yourself are actually locking the door on the quickest path to which you could draw that thing to you. Make sense? Mm-hmm. This is the physics of it, and that's the most important thing to teach you, because circumstances go by the way every day. Specific situations break up all the time, but the fundamental reason why that works never changes. And we want to leave you with the tool that will allow you to know you're always moving in the right direction, regardless of whether the players change every day or not. So that you won't have to be disappointed, so that you won't disappoint yourself from the driver's seat. You understand how we mean that term? Mm-hmm. Disappoint yourself from the driver's seat just because the circumstances on the surface don't seem to be correlating with your dream, with your desire, with your joy. The circumstances have nothing to do with it, really. They are secondary manifestations of the primal drive of you knowing what is true for you and simply following your excitement wherever it leads you, because it will always lead you to yourself. Does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. Do you understand how this answers your question?
Yes.
Does that help
question.
you then?
Yes.
All right.
Last question.
Yes.
Can you please scan the health of Stephen Rice?
Define and describe the general physical appearance and age of this individual on your planet and approximate physical location.
Thousand Oaks, 41 years old. You need anything more? Male.
One moment. One moment. One moment. Sometimes there will be difficulty if we are not dynamically interacting with the individual. But one moment. One moment. One moment. One moment. One moment. Is the individual experiencing what you would call any degree or form of listlessness or lack of energy?
Yes.
For how long? Approximately.
10 years.
One moment. Can you answer this question? What, in your estimation, would be the primary emotional issue that has yet to be resolved within this individual?
Lack of self-expression.
Do you deem that at any time in the near future this individual will allow themselves to express their true being? One moment. Then, within what you would call 1 to 3 years' time, this individual may force themselves into a crisis situation if they do not change this now. This individual may be capable of helping himself get in touch with these things through ingestion of high quantities of purified water and in conjunction with the idea of massage therapy, deep muscular emotional release massage therapy. Do you feel that this individual might be willing to take advantage of these ideas?
No.
Then there is nothing we can do. Thank you for your question. You follow? And number 2.
Hi, Bashar.
To you, good day. You can be number 3.
Well, I have certainly been following my excitement.
Oh, all right.
And I've been looking into property and everything that O had suggested a few months ago.
Yes.
And I found the place on Sunday.
All right, you found a place on Sunday.
Yeah, a retreat, a ranch, everything. Just everything.
Everything?
Everything.
You found everything on Sunday?
Yeah, everything.
All right.
Every detail that I've ever thought about in my life of what I would want.
All right. Thank you for the specificity of your manifestation.
Oh, it has everything.
You said that.
Yes. I'm just so excited.
I can tell.
Yes, it's really boiling. It's always great. So anyway, before finding this, all right, the real estate girl and myself, we went to get something to eat.
Yes.
And we're on our way to this property. And I checked it out last week to see where it was because I just had a feeling about it.
Yes.
So we're going down the road to go there.
Yes, or up the road.
Yes, or up the road. And on the side of the road is what she called a thermal. Thermals.
Thermals.
The thermal, the whirlwind.
Dust devils.
Dust devils, yes.
Yes.
She called it a thermal. She said she had seen a lot before. I'd never seen one in person before.
Oh, all right.
And here's...
Were you introduced properly?
Yes.
All right.
And this thermal, it was all... it was the sand. The sand, so you could see the
That's
outline.
why they are called dust devils.
Dust devils?
Yes.
They always... Because somebody said there's sometimes just like steam or...
Yes. You can see what you would call the heat wavering molecular action in your atmosphere. Yes.
Right. This one was sand
Yes.
rolling.
All right.
Anyway, it was in the shape of the monolith.
All right.
The doorway. And
yes.
I couldn't believe it. I said, oh my God.
Well, obviously you could.
Well, yeah. And I saw it and I was so excited. And I said, Sue, this is the sign. This is the sign that this is the place.
This is the door.
This
Walk
is the
through
door.
it. Yes.
We did.
Yes.
And we saw it. And as soon as I got to the place, I said, this is it, Sue. This is it.
You see how magical life actually is when you allow it to be.
It's just, yes, magical is the word.
That is the way life is.
Yes.
When you allow it, it's not the exception to the
No.
rule. It's the norm.
Yes. And, so anyway.
Well said.
Yeah. It's so wow.
Yes.
So then on, I think it was Tuesday,
yes.
you had said to the 1 and the 4 and the 9,
yes.
which is the monolith door.
Dimension.
Yes. Okay. So I sat down and I took the music, the whole CD. I played the whole 2001 Space Odyssey CD.
Oh, I understood.
And with my earphones on, so it's really... And I went into the pod,
yes.
Into the dodecahedron,
Understood.
Yeah. And that took me, and I went into the monolith through the doorway.
All right.
And there,
yes.
I was with the children.
Yes.
And we were at the lake, because this has a lake, and it has the ducks that were in my dream.
Yes. Ducks in a row.
Yes. And I didn't know this until after Sue and I got afterwards, but in the dream, I was in the car racing with this Judy, and I thought it was the only girl that I know of Judy, but Judy was the name of the other real estate woman.
Yes.
Yes.
So all your symbols are coming together and manifesting in the waking dream you call your physical life.
Yes. And
you are waking up.
Yeah, so we were on the lake.
Yes.
And we were going around. There were 25 of us. In what I got was there were 5 of us together, and there were 5 groups, and that tied into the 5 rows that I got from the Tesseract, the white flowers, the 5 rows of white flowers, 5 in each row, and the 25 are the seed group or the first...
Counterparts for each of the children, yes.
Say that again.
Counterparts for each of the children, yes. Seed counterparts to lay the foundation for energies for each of the representative 25 children, the 5 times 5.
Okay. That represents the 25 that will be the first... I got would be the first...
Wave.
Wave.
Yes.
Yeah, the first wave.
Yes.
All right, so...
5 times 5.
Yes. So all of us are there in the 5
Do you understand that it is what you call your military terminology? That being centered in the window that you want to be in is called 5 by 5.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Now you do.
And the interesting thing was that we were singing and going, but we weren't going around in a circle when we held hands. We were in the pentagon.
Yes. Another 5.
Shape.
Yes.
The pentagon shape
Yes.
when we were going around.
Yes.
And we were singing and we were laughing and because we were home.
Yes.
This was home.
Yes.
And then I also got the 9, the 1, and the 4. I put the 4 and the 1 together as a 5, and it felt like
If you wish.
that's what I got from it.
Yes.
So between 9/5 and 9/14. But I got mostly it was 9/5, September 9/5.
All right.
Now, the other thing is
Yes. What is the other thing?
the address of the place.
Is
1405.
all
The
right.
1 and the 4 and the 5 and the 4 is the 9,
Yes.
which is the energy of it.
So you have all the elements even within the locational sequence.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
good.
Yes. And so that was my journey into the 14 days that you had suggested.
And you have the 14 again in the beginning of your address.
Yes. Yes. It just all coming together.
It is all
It is.
one already, and you are beginning to realize how it is already all together.
Yes.
And you are seeing the components that constantly reinforce the reflection that everything, every individual separate thing, or what seems to be every individual separate thing, is simply all the same one thing from different points of view.
Yeah, and that dream that I had, that all of this is coming together now, all of these pieces and everything.
So to speak, yes.
Yeah, I still a few pieces that I haven't put together yet.
If
But
you begin to understand again and remember
whole.
that these pieces are simply another point of view of the same one thing,
Yes.
it will be easier to understand what the other pieces are that remain.
Right, I'm saying pieces, but I'm feeling it as a whole.
All right. And the home energy that you are feeling in that area is identical to the vibration of what we have referred to as the home energy in certain locations around your planet, such as what you call your bandolier outside of Santa Fe.
I don't know. What's the bandolier outside?
It
of
is
Santa
what
Fe?
you would call an area. What you have now turned into a national park that is of the same energy, the home energy, and will become eventually one of the contact places for meeting. From species to species, from world to world, several places around your planet exhibit the specific vibrational frequency that make it more conducive for such contact to take place. That home energy is how you recognize it.
And that's what we have with this.
You have it there, and it is in Bandolier, and it is in a few other places around your planet, but you will recognize it by that frequency.
Uh-huh. Yes. Yes. The other thing...
Yes.
Xeon
Yes.
is when I went into the energy of the red planet. I believe that Xeon is the one that has the...
This is an aspect of yourself, and we will discuss this at another time.
Oh, okay, because I didn't get that one at all. That's interesting. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 3.
Hi, Bashar.
To you, good day.
I had some really interesting dreams this week.
Oh, all right.
Unlike any I've ever had before.
Oh, all right. Congratulations.
It's exciting.
If you say so.
I would wake up periodically throughout the night and think, well, gosh, I was just talking about some subject, and I can't recall any of the subjects. But it was as if I was explaining something to someone.
Yes.
Some technical thing, and
Yes.
I'd go on and on and on, and I'd wake up and I'd say, God, Elizabeth, what was that? And then I'd...
God, Elizabeth. Well put.
Oh. Oh, God. Okay.
Yes.
So...
Again, well put.
So is this the all-seeing Elizabeth? Is that what you mean?
It is a level of that idea. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I'd turn around to another angle in the bed so that I could switch topics, and then I'd go on and
Exactly
on
so.
and another topic.
Yes.
It was so
Carrying
strange.
on many conversations
Oh.
in that dimensional realm that is multifaceted. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All of you, as we have said, are very busy at night.
Oh, I never realized how
Now
busy.
you're beginning to remember bits and pieces of what you're all doing, interacting, intercommunicating, creating realities, dispensing information, receiving information, learning, growing, experiencing many different kinds of realms of reality, and incorporating what you will into this one, and vice versa. You are never ending, never ceasing in this Sleep has nothing to do with stopping anything. In fact, it has to do with starting several things up.
Yeah. I thought that I'd be tired when I woke up in the morning because I woke up a lot during the night, all week.
But if you are always in your center, you will not be depleted.
No. No, I've had so much energy this week. It feels so good.
Yes, keep it up.
Yes.
In more ways than one.
What do you mean?
Keep the energy up by keeping up this idea that you are doing. By continuing to do what you are doing.
Okay.
Become more and more and more of your bigger self. By remembering more and more and more of who you are. And this is one facet of who you are. You're a teacher. You teach. You share information and receive information. You have many different kinds of conversations and many different kinds of classes that you both give and attend on those levels.
Yes, my friend said it was graduate school.
Yes.
Okay. Another dream that I had, I went, not the dream, but I was walking on the beach with Jack and I found this stone. It just seemed to jump out at me. It had two deep-set holes that looked like alien eyes.
Oh, all right.
Oh, I'd like to have this stone.
All right.
So I brought the stone home and
yes.
I put it in a special place in our house. And that night I had a dream, and in the dream, a man was telling me that stone could be used to attract reptilian energy.
Oh, all right.
And I thought, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then when I woke up that morning, there was a little lizard right by the bed that my cat had been playing with, and it was alive. It was just sitting there. And so I carefully took the lizard outside, and he hurried away.
All right.
And then that lizard motif came up 3 more times, and the cats that I was taking care of this week, they all trapped lizards, and I saved the lizards. And then once one of the lizards was killed, and
all right, that's all right.
Can you shed any?
In speaks of transformation, you are finally getting in touch with what we have referred to as the core essential self that you symbolize as the creature you call the dragon. Oh. It starts out small, but you're getting in touch with it.
Oh,
That's what you are attracting. You have given yourself this symbol of something that is representative of your foundation, stone, something at the core that is solid. And it is that which has to do with your power, which is symbolized by the concept you call the dragon. You understand?
Yes.
So, but you're starting small with little lizards, and you are using the symbol on your planet, the cat, that is representative of being able to see in more than one dimension, of transitioning in more than one level. And that which you say has 9 lives, or if you wish, 9 points of view of different dimensional realities and realms, to attract and bring to your attention the idea that you are using your senses, you're stretching your senses to get in touch with that core foundational solid place where you can allow the dragon to be released in a way that you know is safe. In other words, to express your full power more safely without any reservation whatsoever. You follow?
Yes. And I really feel like I'm beginning to connect with these cats on a much deeper level.
Yes.
I have so much fun with them like they're friends.
You're already connected, which is why they are symbolically reflecting the things to you that they are. You are now only realizing the connection that is there, and always has been, and always will be, forever. For there is only now. That is what forever is. A full realization that there is only now. That's what forever is. That's why creation is infinite. Because infinity is the total realization that there is only now. And always will be. Make sense?
Yes, I think so.
Because when there is only now, then it's always now. Always. Always, 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 always now. And there can be no other time but now. And thus that is forever and infinity. Make sense?
Yes, yes.
That will be a seed that will lead you to the next stage of your dreaming. We have now, you and I together, planted it. Let it grow. Water it. All right. Yes.
Another area.
Yes.
My sister-in-law Megan and I had a wonderful connection on the phone this week. And
all right. Do you usually have bad service?
We just don't talk very often. And this time we talked, and we both just were really open and honest with each other and explored all sorts of interesting conversations and connections.
Well, you set this up in your dream reality. This is some of the conversations you have been having. You have been having them with her in your dream reality so that you could clear the way to be able to bring that clarity down into your physical dream.
Oh.
You understand?
That's exciting.
This is what many of you do in your dream reality, is lay the template for what you wish to experience in your physical dream.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes my dreams seem so literal, like...
Yeah, sometimes they are.
Yeah. It's as if I'm imagining in my dream something's happening that I want to happen.
Yes.
Very literally.
Yes.
It
can be so.
Yeah. Can you help me see another level of the connection that she and I share?
That can be part of what we have already together just seated within you that will take you to the next level.
Okay. And I have this little bump in my ear.
Little bump in your ear.
It's so...
Is that one of those bumps in the night?
Oh, it could be.
I am going to leave you with that particular little clue.
Okay.
And that's all we are going to do
all right.
for now.
Thank you, Bashar.
You and then you. Number 2, do you know who you are? All right. Number 3. Yes. Number 3. Yes. Number 1, good day.
Good day again, Bashar.
Yes.
Psychically, I knew I was next.
Oh, all right.
He was still speaking. But I wanted to see if you could define for me a little bit better or give me some advice on how to handle the paradox that I'm apparently dealing with. In other words, it seems like...
Ask yourself this question. What's your motivation for why you want things to be the way you say you want them? That question will lead you into the proper state in which to understand how to handle this energy and balance it more succinctly. Ask yourself the question, what is your motivation for why you want things the way you say you want them? That's what you need to do.
To experience my highest joy.
No, you have to be more specific about this. You are placing an assumptive expectation on the idea. We are speaking more specifically in terms of specific circumstance and situation. Many times, you will actually take an action that is not representative of your joy. The fact that you will take the action is what is representative of your doubt and or fear. When in fact, if you really were coming from joy sometimes, you would not need to act in the way that you act at all. The idea is to ask yourself at any moment what your motivation is, your honest motivation for doing and or saying what it is you do and or say. Why you behave the way you are behaving. Take a deeper look. You will find that there is more underlying the motivations than you think. But that's where to begin. This is all we can give you at this moment.
Okay. And is my going out of body, which I also is when I do it, it's something that I enjoy doing very much.
Yes.
Is this causing my energy field to be out of alignment as I've been told?
No.
Okay.
But your definitions of what you may be doing with this idea can, in some sense, cause discord within your energy field.
Can you clarify that a little bit?
In other words, if you are utilizing the concept of, quote-unquote, going out of your body to do things that would best be done in a more grounded and physical state, then you can be using it as an escape mechanism which can throw your energy field into discord. So again, it comes back to motivation.
Okay, and I have done that. Now things are making sense on that level. But one question that remains is, in order to get my energy field in alignment so that it's not interfering with other people.
It is not interfering with other people. In order to get your energy field in alignment so that it is more representative of who you truly are, is the statement.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with interfering with other people, for when you are more aligned, you will naturally interact with other people in a more aligned way.
So do I need to ground and avoid going out of body now to be able to allow that to happen?
This might be of some assistance to you for the time being.
Okay.
And as you ground and ask yourself the questions about your motivations for actions and behavior, then you may find that you will allow yourself to get in touch with the deep issues that you need to get in touch with and allow them to come to the surface so that they can perhaps then be integrated. All right?
Okay, one other thing I'm hoping you can do real quick because she couldn't be here tonight. Can you scan Dawn Richards and see if you can give her any advice, because she will be getting this tape, on how she can not have...
Why are you asking this question?
To try and...
Why are you asking this question? Here is a perfect opportunity for you to scan your motivation. Why are you motivated to ask this question on her behalf? What is your assumption and or your hope in asking this question?
That she can experience...
Stop asking for her. You are asking out of lack of faith and belief that she is getting what she needs and that you have to deliver to her the information that will be of help for her, as if she cannot get it for herself.
Okay.
Do you follow this?
Yes, I do.
Let it go.
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you. Number 2.
Hi, Bashar.
And a you good day.
I would like some assistance with my belief systems here.
Oh, all right.
I am so not where Ellie is.
So not where Ellie is.
Yeah.
The question is, are you where you are? You don't have to be where Ellie is. You only have to be where you are.
I would rather be where Ellie is.
Well, you can't be. Otherwise, you would be Ellie.
Okay, well, I want to be a Sam version of that.
Oh, all right. By all means, be a Sam version of that.
Okay. I'm having a little challenge doing that. Right?
Congratulations.
All right.
What is the challenge that you have now created for yourself? And remember this. I preface this. Do you remember when you were, in this interaction with us, feeling absolute and total joy and on the peak of being yourself?
No. I don't. Yes, I do.
Yes, I know you do.
I do.
All right. Remember that this challenge you have created is happening within that energy, not interrupting it. That's the first thing you all have to remember, so that you don't take yourself back down to the bottom. The challenges will not yet stop, but the challenges that occur are occurring within the joy you remember last having. It is not a challenge that is interrupting the flow of the joy. The fact that you had that peak of joy is what's allowing you to be capable of facing this challenge. So this is coming from your power and your strength, and if you approach it with that knowledge, it will make the challenge automatically seem less challenging. That's the first thing to remember. When the challenge comes up, oh, this is a challenge coming from my joy, not in contradiction to the joy. Does that make sense to you?
Very.
Thank you. Now, do you want to take this any further?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
Now that we've got you a little bit more whipped up.
Yeah. That's really helpful.
All right, this is where you begin. This is where you begin.
Okay.
Remember that. Remember that. Remember that. And you will give yourself back the foundation that will allow you to then deal with the challenge. Otherwise, you have nothing to stand on. Right. Understand?
Right. So. Okay, putting it in that context, it shifted immediately.
Thank you. And what else?
What I've been looking at in terms of my belief systems, and this is what I'm not getting, is what is at work here that I'm not consciously aware of. Now, in that joy and in that movement, it was so powerful.
And it still is. Only now it's taking the form of a challenge. Remember, it's still the same power, taking another form.
Okay.
So what is the challenge putting you in touch with? What is the design of the challenge? How have you used your power to design this challenge? What more now is this challenge giving you an opportunity to integrate? What's the challenge?
I guess it really comes...
Let it out, let it out, let it out. You can cry. This is change. This is transformation. Let the old you melt through the tears. It's all right. This is valid. This is the way it needs to be. Let go, let go, let go. All your eyes out. Breathe, breathe, breathe. You see, it gets you to breathe deeply. That's what you need to do. Breathe through it and speak. What's the challenge?
Well, the way I've experienced it has been in terms of, it's like I'm keeping myself in this containment field.
Containment field.
Every time I'm moving toward my joy, there are no synchronicities. There seems to be, I'm manifesting anything but. There's just everything that I'm attempting to do is a real rough road. And if I really look at it, when you said that, what came up for me more than anything is Jonathan.
Yes.
It's
what
like
about him?
It's like I've just gotten the diagnosis yesterday.
That?
I've been weeping so much about it. There's been so much pain, and then I find out that I resent him, you know?
Yeah, it's all right. That's all right.
It's really hard for me to admit.
Well, you just admitted it. That's all right.
But I feel so bad about it.
That's all right. It's all right to resent him, because what you're doing is simply resenting a portion of yourself. It's all right to feel bad about it. It's all right to not feel bad about it. Any feeling you have is all right to feel. That's the second thing you allow yourself to know. Anything you feel in the challenge is all right to feel. That automatically takes some of the charge off of it because it removes the guilt, which you don't need. So you follow this. It's all right to feel bad. It's all right to feel the resentment. Anything you feel is valid. You want to know why you're confusing yourself?
Very much so.
Because of your statement. Moving toward your joy. Your joy is not something you move toward. It never will be. For any of you. You don't. It never will be. For any of you. You don't move toward your joy. I know it seems like that in your linear space-time reality, but you're not moving toward your joy. Your joy is totally present. You have all the joy in creation. All you're doing in You have all the joy in creation. All you're doing in any of your processes is giving yourself an opportunity to either realize that or not. To be aware of the joy you already have or not. To be aware of the joy that is already contained in everything that's happening. To realize that what is happening is the product of your power and your joy. Every component of it. Every aspect of it. You're not moving toward your joy. That is what is tripping you up. To think that that's what you need to do. Does this make sense to you?
It makes sense, but when I stop myself and I look at it that way, which I have, and I be as present with my joy and my wholeness as I am capable in the moment.
Yes.
I'm capable of so little.
That's all right. Don't judge yourself. How do you know how much it is?
It's not much.
But you're making a comparison. You're measuring yourself against some kind of ideal, and you find yourself coming up short. That's a self-judgment. You understand? You have no business doing that. You follow? You can do it if you want, but that doesn't really serve who you are. Your joy is your joy, whatever that may mean. You don't have to judge it as being too little, as opposed to what you think you should be doing. Again, remember, If what you're experiencing is simply your joy in another form, then you really still have all the joy you've ever had. It's just expressing itself differently. If you have a red cloth, you follow me? No. A piece of red cloth, and you dye it mostly blue, but there is still one little corner that is red, do you have any less cloth than you had before? No. It's still all there. The whole piece of cloth is still there. You have to understand that all your joy is still there. All your energy, all your power is still here. But you're using it to look at something. You're changing it into another form so that you can look at something. You can look at another piece of yourself. Your joy is not going away, and you cannot say that just because there's just this little corner of red that you no longer have a whole cloth. But that's what you're doing. Oh, the whole cloth should be red. What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with a cloth that is mostly blue. It's just a different piece of cloth in a sense. But it's still all the same whole cloth. You still have the whole thing. You're just using it differently. It's still your joy. It may not feel like it because of your definition, but if you know that it is, you can use it as if it is. And then it will serve you in a constructive and positive way. Is this making sense? In any way, shape, or form to you? Of course, I can always ask you the question, and I think I will, because you know me. Yes, here comes the big uh-oh. Yes, the big uh-oh question. You know how much we love to ask all of you the big uh-oh question.
Yeah. What question's that?
Why, thank you for asking. I'd be very happy to tell you. That question is, why do you enjoy beating yourself up so much?
Yeah.
What do you get out of it? Poor little Sammy. You get to play poor little me.
Maybe.
Which is what you were taught. And what you are identifying with regard to your child. Poor little child. That is what you are being reminded of by your child. That you still feel like the poor little girl. You understand? Let her go. If you wish. Or not. But you do not have to be the poor little girl anymore. You don't have to keep beating yourself up in order to continue to be the poor little girl. Do you understand? Yes? No?
Yes.
And when you stop being the poor little girl who needs to constantly beat herself up to remind herself that she is the poor little girl and nothing else, when you stop being that poor little girl, maybe, just maybe, your son can stop reflecting that to you. Maybe. Does this make some sense to you?
Oh.
By the way, this is not an uh-oh. By the way, do you know that we love you unconditionally? Do you know that the infinite loves you unconditionally? And how do you know that? You know that the infinite loves you unconditionally because the infinite allows you to choose to beat yourself up. That's how much you are loved. You can do whatever you want. That's how much you are loved. You can even beat yourself up and it will still love you because it lets you do anything you want. That's how much all that is loves you. Because what you say goes. That's how much you are loved. So if you are loved that much, how can you really possibly be a poor little girl? Unless that's what you get your kick in being. And all that is will love you enough to let you be that poor little girl because it loves you so much that you can be whatever you say you want to be. But if you remember that you are only capable of being the poor little girl because all that is loves you enough to let you be, then all of a sudden you realize and remember how loved you are, and you're no longer feeling so poor. Make sense?
Yeah.
This is healthy.
I love you very much.
I love you as well. Pleasant dreams. You have help. Ask for it. You all have guides. Ask for it. It is always given. But be at peace. It will come. Number 3.
Good day.
And to you, good day.
I want to thank Sam for being vulnerable and sharing that, because that was very powerful for me, and I'm sure other people as well.
You see what a service you provide? There are no accidents. You see how even what you feel to be powerlessness can help empower others as well as yourself. You are all blessed. It is our deepest wish that you all remember that. Thank you.
I have 3 areas I want to discuss with you.
Oh, number 1.
This summer I worked summer school. When I took the job, it was supposed to be 8th graders and about 30 students. When I started, it turned out to be 40 some odd, and it was 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders.
Oh, all right.
And there was no textbook, and there was no support, and no, I couldn't find out what their background was to know their specific needs and so on. So it was like,
how exciting!
Well, it was a challenge, and I realized that I'd set this challenge up for myself.
Which means you are capable of handling it.
And I did handle it. It is now over, and I'm glad it's over.
Oh, all right. And you have learned things.
What it did, and I want your perspective for part of this, was that
you don't have to ask for it. I'm a big blabbermouth. If I have a perspective to give, nothing will stop me from giving it unless you tell me you don't want it. So you don't have to ask for it.
In 2 of these classes, there were several students, males in both of them, that turned out that they were ADD. They were also not...
Or at least what many of your people call
right,
ADD.
Right, that kind of symptomology.
Yes.
They also were totally turned off by school and were obnoxious in behavior as well.
Yes.
And in dealing with them, it's...
you understand that sometimes, in some cases, what you have said is redundant. In other words, the scholastic programs, in many cases, that are created for the dispensation of information are, in many cases, what causes what you perceive to be ADD.
How so?
In other words, if information is not given in a way that actually inspires and ignites the core of the individual, but is only done in a rote fashion that compartmentalizes, then individuals will certainly, in their own best interest, learn to not pay attention.
Okay.
It is not a disorder, except in the recognition that much of the information is not coming in the orderly fashion that actually would help ignite and inspire the individual to which the information is being given. In a sense, and of course we understand there are always exceptions, each case has to be taken case by case specifically. But in a sense, it is actually a case of IDD, information deficit disorder. And it is mostly on the part of the systems dispensing the information more than it is on the part of the individuals receiving the information. Do you follow?
Yes, I do.
This is why it is so important for very new and creative, multi-level, interactive, interesting, creative, active programs to be introduced into many of the educational systems on your planet to entice and solicit participation by inspiring the creative centers of the individual to apply the information in areas and ways that they find are aligned with their highest joy. Then you will find they'll be more than willing and more than capable of learning anything you have to throw at them, because they will be learning how to use it in ways that are germane for who they are, instead of simply being given information that forces them to become like everyone else. You follow this?
Yes, and that was part of my intention. I don't think I accomplished it. I did bring in...
You accomplished what you needed to accomplish for yourself at that time.
Okay.
Now you are learning, and now you are growing, and now you are becoming another version of you who will now do things that are appropriate for this version of you. Don't judge yourself.
Well, those particular students were very resistant to anything creative that I brought into the classroom.
Yes. Because they, in a sense, really were not given the foundations to learn how to open up to that idea. This may take some time.
That's kind of what I got. When I have more time over the school year, I build a relationship, and there's trust, and there is community, and then it's easier to have things happen.
Just continue to be as creative as you possibly can be. It will, in that sense, ultimately make a difference in the way that it needs to. Don't necessarily assume that it will make the kind of difference you think it needs to in every individual, but you will make a difference. That I can guarantee you, hands down. Or hands up, however you wish it.
For me, the challenge seemed to be to not shut down because they were obnoxious.
Yes.
To stay open and keep my solar plexus open and just not become polarized with them.
And engage them. Engage them in the challenges that they throw at you. Engage them creatively in those challenges. It may take a little more familiarity and a little more growing for you to understand exactly how to do that, but you can engage them. You can learn to engage them in a sense on their own level, but with a twist that is unexpected. You can plant that little unexpected surprise underneath that they will then, by thinking that you're engaging them on the same level, they will jump in with you and all of a sudden find out that they will be surprised that you've thrown something into the mix they didn't expect. And they will respect you for that creatively, and they will open up. It's making some sense to me.
It is, although I don't see the specifics as it would apply to these particular students, and the 5 weeks is over.
Yes.
So this particular session, is finished.
Well, that's all right. They'll move on to something else. You'll move on to something else.
Yes.
Again, there are no accidents. Timing is what it is.
Okay.
Be who it is you have learned to be from this experience and apply it where and when it is germane to apply it in your upcoming scenario.
Well, it certainly gives me more information in dealing with parents on the regular school year about when they...
And in fact, you may have, as you say in your colorful language, hit the nail on the head. Sometimes dealing with the parents is the way to understand why the children are the way they are.
Well, it was very obvious that either the parents had advocated any kind of authority or structure for their family, or they were in a total blame situation. It was everybody else's fault.
And so in understanding that, you can learn to generate environments and atmospheres that will allow vibrations to rub off on the children, that will give them an opportunity to kind of go back to a type of 0 point and allow them to build up from scratch. It just takes being a little bit more blatant about what's going on.
Well, I'm going to go down to first grade this next year, so I feel I'll have more opportunity.
Maybe, maybe not. Let me give you an example, if I may.
Please.
Let us say you are dealing with one of the older children that you feel, in a sense, has developed certain behaviors based on the family dynamic.
All right.
All right. Now, I'm going to be a little bit colloquial about what is about to be said. I do not mean it in a judgmental way, but only to illustrate a point for perhaps how you can engage their interest a little bit.
Okay.
You can be creative with this, and I think you will understand the way in which we mean this. You follow?
Yes.
So, first day, there they are, you observe the behavior, and you open up the dialogue. With this understanding, paraphrase, however it is, you best need to deliver this information. You don't have to take me verbatim, but you'll get the general essence. And that dialogue would be, in a sense, all right, let's all admit, right up front, let's all admit right up front, I can see it. It's as plain as the noses on your faces. I can see it. Your parents really messed you up.
Whoa, boy.
You've been hamstrung. You've been straitjacketed. You have been turned upside down, inside out, and backwards. You don't know up from down. You don't know which way you are going. You don't know you know what from a hole in the ground. This is what your parents have given you. Yes, they love you. Yes, they thought they were doing their best. But their parents did it to them, so they don't know what the heck they're doing to you. But they did the best they could. Well, now you're with me, and I know who you really are. I know who you really want to be. And I can help you be that you. If you want to, I'm not going to force you. But I know your parents really messed you up. So I can provide you an opportunity to find out who the heck you really are. Not who your parents thought you should be. If you are interested in finding out who the heck you really are, I can help you with that. If you're interested, let's work together. Now, how often do you hear that kind of a speech in your schools?
Never.
Thank you. That's what it takes. You follow?
Yes.
Now, again, you can paraphrase, but you get the point.
Yes, I do.
You get the energy.
Yes.
Anything else you wish to talk about?
In this connection or my other two questions?
Your other question.
Okay. The second is we've had trouble with rats this year, and I've tried to find the symbology. They are not listed in the Native American medicine card.
In this case, do you find that they are not in what you call, again, no judgment, but just using your colloquial vernacular, annoying because they get in the walls and you can't get them out?
Exactly. They're where, we can't trap them until they do come out. And
these are the belief systems trapped between the walls. You understand the analogy?
Well,
this is the gnawing, nagging things eating away at the insides of these children and all people who have deteriorative belief systems. You have to open those walls up so the rats will have no walls to hide in.
They're in my home.
I understand.
Okay.
But it's an analogy for you.
Yes, all right. We've caught about 17.
Yes.
But I think that we're all through with it, but then, after a while, then there's another one.
All right. Again, physical reality is reflecting something for you. Allow yourself to begin to learn to communicate with them in the manner that allows you to understand what they are reflecting to you. When they no longer serve a purpose of reflection, they will no longer need to be in your presence. Do you follow?
Yes, I do. I do.
And number 3?
You had said before that you needed to have more time pass before you could tell me more about my connection with Brittany Ann.
Yes.
My granddaughter.
Yes.
Can you tell me anything about her at this point? She's now 3.5 months old.
No.
No. All right. Thank you for sharing.
One moment. At this time, let us point out that the structures that have been generated are of a nature wherein, as many of you already know, they can function, as we have discussed, as dimensional gateways and doorways in moving them around in your mind to open up and shift avenues of intention, of perspective. The idea of the 27 points are all the points that can be described in the first 3 vectors of 180, 90, and 45 degrees on a sphere. That is why 27 is so important. It is the 3 directions of physical reality described on a sphere. You will arrive at 27 points, 26 on the surface and 1 in the center. Also why it is the number of the letters in what you would call the Hebrew alphabet, which are intimately connected in the idea of the opening of gateways through their tonal vibration and meditation thereupon. So the idea of the description of the cube in the tetrahedron through the interstices of the 27 points is a physical shadow description of the vibratory key that is representative of all the doorways, all the perspectives, all the tonal vibrations, all in one form holographically, that can open up all the doorways all at once. It is similar, in essence, to the idea of what we have already talked about the 2 interpenetrating tetrahedrons, one pointing up, one pointing down, like a 3-dimensional Star of David, with one rotating clockwise, one rotating counterclockwise as they interpenetrate. It is another variation, an exploded form of that idea, as if you were X-raying the dimensional gates and the pathways, the energy pathways within that form, inside that form, and discovering the doorway in the center that is the tesseract. That is the hypercube. This is what in general this shape represents. It represents much more on higher dimensional levels, but this is one of the shadow forms, as it translates into your three-dimensional reality. This is what we will discuss at this time. This is all we will say for now. At this timing, we will now extend once again to each and every one of you our deep appreciation in allowing our civilization to interact with you in this way through this window at this time. Our unconditional love to each and every one of you. And we remind you once again that you are dreaming right now. So you might as well be living the dream that you prefer. Define it, live it, trust it. It is you. Good day.